Good evening, welcome back to the Fireburns Within channel. Time to continue with this musical journey series of videos. We've reached part 4, left you off at the end of 1998 and we continue around the same time, 98, 99. This album is Virgin Steel's Invictus album. I remember hearing this album for the first time. I think it was released in 98, but I only heard it maybe 6 months later, early 99 or sometime in 99. I remember hearing this and I was like transfixed by the vocalist. I didn't know his name at the time, but I bought the CD. Like, I was listening to the CD actually in the shop. You could actually play the CD in them days. You take it to the counter and they put it on this player, and then you just walk away to where the listening station is and you can listen to any CD in the shop. So I was just transfixed. I must have been there like half an hour listening to this album. And the album is like mighty long. So I was sort of skimming but I'd already heard enough to buy it, but I just wanted to make sure because I was sort of just transfixed by this band. They were like, I don't know, they were a little bit like Manowar, but more theatrical, more melodic. And the vocalist, David DeFay, he's just, his voice is like, he's captivating me. It's like, it's just something it's embraced me. It's just hit me like a ton of bricks, that voice that he's got. He's got like a very powerful voice. He's got a lot of edge, but he's also got a lot of melody in it, a lot of emotion. So Virgin Steel's Invictus in 98. Well, I listened in 99. It's an awesome album. I've loved it ever since. It's a big moment for me in my musical journey. Okay, next album. We reached the 2000s, we reached the millennium. It's Helloween's The Dark Ride. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've really heard Helloween. I've heard random songs here and there, but nothing really grabbed me, believe it or not. But when The Dark Ride came out, there was a single released beforehand. I think it's the song Mr. Torture. It really hooked me. I mean, I was really taken with that song, and I was looking forward to the album release. And then when it came out, I was playing The Dark Ride so much. I mean, it was quite a different sounding album. It's sort of quite, as the title would suggest, it was a darker album for Helloween. Helloween is sort of known as being sort of like a happy power metal band, but this one was not too happy at all, really, to be honest. But it was a milestone for me. I really liked it. I heard the Keeper era, I think somewhere along the line, and it never really grabbed me. I know everyone goes on about the Keeper era, and it is good, and I do like it, but I'm not going overboard on it like many are. So I don't know, but The Dark Ride, awesome album. First time I got into Helloween, so it has to make my list. Okay, next one is also on the 2000 borderline. I think 99, 2000. When I checked on the internet, they've got it just in 2000, but it might have been released in late 99 in Japan. But anyway, around then. And it's a biggie. It's a big album. It's Halford's big comeback to heavy metal. It's the Resurrection album. I love this. I absolutely love this. I mean, I heard Halford's projects before. He had Fight, he had the 2 project. The 2 project was terrible. It was industrial. I mean, I absolutely hated that. I didn't really like Fight either. I mean, didn't do a lot for me. I mean, in the meantime, I'd heard Painkiller. I love Painkiller. It's an awesome album. It's probably my favorite Priest album. But when Halford said he's coming back to metal, there was a big sort of, I remember the press were like, yeah, Halford is back. And when you hear the first song, and he's doing that high note, and then the band kicks in, and it's like, all is forgiven, Rob. You're back to where you belong. Heavy metal. So Resurrection is a massive album. I love that album. Next album to mention is also around the 2000 time. This sees me starting to move into becoming a fan of melodic rock. I never really, dipped my toe into melodic rock much, but this album really started, I was getting a little bit older, not that old obviously then, but slightly becoming a fan of more softer music, and this album was a big trigger in me becoming a melodic rock fan. The album in question is this one. It's Ten's Babylon. It's not a well-known album, but for me this was such a great album. I mean, I became a big fan of this band, this melodic rock band Ten from the UK. I really like this album, Babylon. I love Gary Hughes' vocals. He's the lead singer. I like him to this day. He's got a very sort of baritone, lower pitched voice. He's very sort of smooth and melodramatic, and I love Ten's storytelling. It's really cool, really enjoyable. So this album, it was the switch into slightly softer waters, and it's progressed ever since. Next album to talk about is in 2001. I've talked about this album enough on this channel, but I have to mention it again. It's Falconer's debut album, the self-titled album. This one blew me away. This vocalist, Matthias Blad, we hadn't heard nothing like that in power metal. I mean, this one was just like a bolt out of the blue. We turned the millennium. Power metal, is in full swing. I mean, Hammerfall started it, but a lot of bands followed, and Falconer was one of the best ones. Amazing debut album. Next album to mention, I'm skipping forward a couple of years. It's the second album from Lost Horizon, A Flame to the Ground Beneath. I mean, I love the debut album. It was released on the same day as Falconer's album, believe it or not, which I've already made a video about. But in 2003, they released the follow-up, Lost Horizon, and this album just blew me away. To this day, if I was going to make a top 10 power metal albums, of all time, this would be bang up there. I mean, I'd probably put it top, but I don't know. I need to look at it and make a proper decision. But I just love this album. I mean, the epicness of it is just through the roof. The vocalist Daniel Hyman, he's unbelievable. Okay, next one. In 2004, this band released their second album and they disappeared. It's Necrophagist, and the album is Epitaph. I really like this band. This band is like a German technical death metal band. They've spawned a myriad of copycats since then. A lot of bands are influenced by Necrophagist. Their technical level is just through the roof. I mean, they're very catchy as well. At this point in 2004, I was really into like technical music, like very difficult sounding riffs, but still with melodies and catchiness as well. And Necrophagist was like, it's the top of the tree when it comes to that style of music. Okay, next album, we move on a couple of years again. And in 2006, Saxon released the album Lionheart. This was literally the first real Saxon I loved from beginning to end. I know that sounds funny, they had a whole host of albums before, but I never really paid too much attention. It was one of those bands which I knew of very well, but I never really I like them, but I never really spent a lot of time with them. But this album Lionheart, it really won me over, especially the title track, which quickly became one of my favorite Saxon songs. So I really love this one in 2006. Okay, one more album to talk about as I've just gone past the 10-minute barrier. In 2005, 2006, Sabaton came on the scene. Now, they released an early debut, which I did hear, but it wasn't like the most amazing thing ever. But it was okay. I heard it was more demo-ish, but in 2005 and 6, they literally released 2 albums in a row. Now, I'm only going to count one of them. I'm not going to count both. I'm going to go with Primo Victoria. I mean, this album brought Sabaton onto the scene, but the one that followed was Atero Dominatus, which is just as good. I mean, they're both amazing, but for the purpose of this video, we just count in Primo Victoria. You know, Sabaton, when they get on the scene, they were like a shot in the arm for the power metal scene. You know, they're just something fresh, the war themes, you know, just the glorious sounds, the epic sounds, keyboards, a lot of keyboards in this band, just heroic songs. I mean, Joachim, he's not like the best singer in the world. Apparently he was their original keyboard player and he couldn't find the singer, so he had to go in the front and start singing. So he started singing and that's it. He's, you know, he's forever going to be the singer of Sabaton. So in Sabaton, Primo Victoria, that's the last one for this video. Well into this now. Okay, stay tuned.